Hello everyone, Jason here again. I'm down by the creek by the place where I'm staying right now, and I had shown you this before, but it's like overcast, and I really wanted to show it to you when it's perfect, which it is today. The combination of the temperature of the air and the heat of the sun, temperature of the water, the blue of the sky. There's no clouds. Look around here. There are no clouds. We've got a bright sun. Feel it on my skin really well. And this place is just wow. So stunning. So my roommate, there's his dog. It's a great dog. I like this dog. Now in my last video, because this is a Flat Earth Vlog, I said I got to be talking about Flat Earth, right? So I brought you up to speed on how I became a Flat Earther. And now what I'd like to do is take you into what started happening with what's going to be my soon-to-be ex. And so like I've said before, I was following conspiracies. I knew 9/11 was at least a false flag. And then Sandy Hook and the Aurora Theater, all these different things, when they came along, at that point, it didn't take much for me to know that they were at least a false flag. Now, as time's gone along, I'd say most, if not all of these events have moved from being false flag to hoax. But what started happening was, when I would learn about something, I'd want to share it with my wife. This was even before we were married. We were living together. So for everybody that is a strong Christian that knows that living together is a sin, yes, I was sinning. I am a sinner. I would want to share this stuff with her. And it was always met with the ultimate resistance. Like I would ask for her to watch something and she wouldn't look at it. She would be like, well, I'm busy, I've got this. So then I'd be quiet for a little bit and I would say, well, this is something that I would like to talk about between us. This is important to me. And can we schedule a time when you're not busy so that we can take a look at this together? She would not schedule a time. It always escalated into some sort of fight. I was told how I was wrong for something, and then it would be shut off, communication cut, and it would, depending on how resilient I was, it would be like a day or two of not talking to each other. And eventually, we would have to start talking to each other again because we had things that had to be addressed. And as long as we didn't talk about that subject, we would resume normal life. So she would not follow along with any of these things. I forced it upon her, not like physically, but really, really strongly. Got her to watch a couple of things. And she would always do something like, as she was watching the video, everything had to be set up a certain way. Well, the screen needs, like she's sitting on the sofa. That's too big, that's too small, that's too loud. And be watching it, and she would pull out her phone and start playing Plants vs. Zombies. And I would stop the video and I'd be like, you sort of need to see this. There's things that I'm showing visually that you have to look at. And she would turn it into a fight like she's not, you know, I'm accusing her of not being able to pay attention and multitask at the same time. And I'd be like, this is ridiculous. I know what's happening. So the flat earth, when I showed it to her, she just went like, And she tried to come up with a couple things to debunk it, but I never even mentioned that I was studying the flat earth for at least 6 months. I really got to know it. I studied it hard. And because I knew my wife and I knew what was going to happen. So after all this study, you know, I brought it up to her. She gave me some hmms. She's like, I'm going to have to process that. She came back to me with literally the exact rhetoric of all the flat earth shills. And once I countered each one of her resistances with information that I had studied, I could take her to it, show it, like, let's watch this. After doing that just a couple times, it quickly switched to, well, what difference does it make anyway? So this is one of the worst things I've ever heard in my life. They use the argument that you still have to wake up and go to work and pay the bills and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, that's true. But if you know what's going on, you can make changes that eventually you won't have to do those things, right? There's things that I'm going to talk about on this channel as far as how we can disconnect from this world and become independent and self-sufficient and get to hang out doing stuff like this. Like this right here is everyday life. Okay. My wife wouldn't look at anything that had to do with what I considered to be the truth. It was always the main source of our contention. As long as I stayed quiet about it and didn't bring up anything that I thought or believed in or wanted to study together to come to an accurate conclusion together, she wanted nothing to do with it. They were all idle words. I couldn't, under any sort of force, and I'm not talking physical, but anything I could muster, I couldn't get it to happen. Recently I found out that you know, she was handling our finances and she wouldn't share them with me. And there's going to be a trial October 16th. And I'm fighting over some money. She's trying to take everything from me, which, whatever. Everything that I've built before, I can build again, except better this time because I've learned so much. So if she takes everything, whatever. I'm going to fight her for it. I'm not going to just let her have it. But there's some things that I can talk about, some things that I can't. But what I'm going to mainly do is talk about the relationship, the interaction between us, because I know that a whole bunch of you out there, if you're listening to me, chances are the people around you, your friends, your family, workmates, chances are if you talk to them about what you believe to be the truth, it's going to turn into terminal situation in your relationship. If you stand up for what you believe in. So what happens is we generally cave, feel like we're being the good person. We're not going to ruin the relationship over this. But are you actually having to sacrifice what you know to be the truth for, to people that you know will not listen to what you have to say? Simply won't look at it. They refuse to. So it's a tough one. I know that this is probably something on the forefront of a lot of you that are listening to this message right now. And you have to make the decision. So you have to analyze all the data. You have to look at that data and you have to come to some sort of conclusion. Once you come to that conclusion, come up with your solution, how to fix it, how to stop whatever is happening that you don't like. Once you've done that, then you actually have to do that. And it's really hard sometimes. I've cut off the relationship with my soon-to-be ex-wife. My brother and I don't communicate. My parents, I've had to cut it off with them. That's it. That's it. But I can tell you this right now. What's happening with the words that I'm speaking and the people that are responding to me, I know that I'm gaining a family right now. The family that I've always wanted, because I've always wanted a bunch of people that are interested in searching after the truth. I want to be with those people. So, I do this. And I look forward to getting to know you. Thank you.